The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Kelrath of the Vrexian Empire gestured toward the human delegation with what could only be described as contempt. His crystalline appendages clicked against the marble floor as he circled the holographic display showing Earth's proposed defense contribution. These veterans? Kelrath's translator struggled with the unfamiliar term. You expect the Council to accept soldiers who have seen 70, 80, even 90 cycles? Most species retire their warriors at 40 cycles. This is either a poor jest or an insult. General Patricia Moreno, her silver hair pulled back in a tight bun, stood with the posture of someone who'd spent 6 decades refusing to bend. The wrinkles around her eyes deepened as she smiled. Not kindly. With respect, Ambassador, you invited humanity to join your war. We're simply offering our best. Laughter rippled through the chamber. The Krell delegates' feathers ruffled in amusement. Even the normally stoic Xenthian observers emitted their equivalent of chuckles, a low rhythmic humming that filled the vast space. Your best? Kelrath's voice dripped with disdain. We request warriors in their prime, and you send us museum pieces. The Zarnak swarm does not care for nostalgia. They will tear through your old soldiers like paper through flame. General Moreno's smile never wavered. Then consider this a learning opportunity. For all of us. 3 weeks later, the Zarnak swarm hit the mining colony on Tertius 7 with overwhelming force. Millions of insectoid warriors descended on the planet like a plague, their chitinous bodies forming a living wave that consumed everything in its path. The colony had been given up for lost within the first hour. The Council's prime warriors, young, augmented, trained in the latest combat techniques, had broken formation within minutes. They'd never seen anything like the swarm's relentless advance, never experienced the psychological horror of an enemy that felt nothing and kept coming regardless of losses. That's when Earth's museum pieces arrived. The UNS Perseverance dropped out of slipspace directly over the colony, and from its belly poured not an army, but a collection of old men and women who moved with the deliberate efficiency of people who'd forgotten more about war than most species ever learned. Colonel James Chen, age 74, had fought in 3 separate planetary conflicts before joining the Galactic Force. As his boots hit the ground, his squad, average age 68, fanned out with movements so synchronized they might have been telepathic. Contact front, came the calm voice of Sergeant Major Williams, a woman who'd celebrated her 80th birthday 2 weeks prior. Same as Venezuela, same as New Kyoto. They think numbers win wars. They always do, Chen replied, checking his rifle with hands that bore the scars of 5 decades of service. Until they meet someone who knows better. The Zarnak swarm crashed against the human defensive line like water against stone. And the old soldiers did something the galaxy had never witnessed. They held. Not through superior technology, not through enhancement or augmentation. They held through something the other species had forgotten in their pursuit of youthful vigor and genetic perfection. Experience. Sergeant Williams saw the swarm's flanking maneuver 3 minutes before it developed, because she'd seen it before on a moon of Jupiter 40 years ago. Chen recognized the pattern of their assault waves because he'd studied military history since he was 16 and had fought in enough battles to know that nature and war repeated itself in predictable ways. Master Gunnery Sergeant Rodriguez, age 83, calmly directed artillery fire with the precision of someone who'd calculated trajectories so many times it had become instinct. When his targeting computer failed, he did the math in his head, compensating for Tertius 7's gravity and atmospheric density without hesitation. You see that? Captain Yuki Tanaka, 69, pointed at the swarm's command cluster while simultaneously fielding reports from 3 different squads. They're using the same pheromone concentration tactic. Worked on Kepler 442b because the defenders panicked. Won't work here. Why not? Asked a young Vrexian observer, his contempt replaced by genuine confusion. Tanaka's weathered face cracked into a grin. Because we've been scared before, son. And we're still here. The battle lasted 16 hours. When it was over, the Zarnak swarm had retreated, something Council records showed they'd never done before. The old soldiers stood among defensive positions that had barely shifted, checking their weapons and comparing notes like professors after a particularly interesting lecture. General Moreno walked the line, stopping to speak with each squad. She found Chen pulling security despite the all-clear, his eyes still scanning the horizon. Kelrath wants to know our secret, she said. Chen didn't look away from his sector. Did you tell him? I said I'd let you explain it. When the after-action report conference convened, the Galactic Council chamber was silent once more, but this time the silence held respect. Ambassador Kelrath, his crystalline form somehow seeming smaller, addressed General Moreno directly. We have reviewed the battle recordings. Your soldiers demonstrated capabilities we cannot explain. Some of their actions appear to violate standard combat doctrine. They anticipated enemy movements before they occurred. They remained calm under circumstances that would break trained warriors. How? Colonel Chen stepped forward, his uniform still dusty from Tertius 7. Ambassador, your warriors train for 10 cycles, augment their bodies, and then retire at 40 because you believe youth equals capability. You're obsessed with physical prime, with reaction time measured in milliseconds, with strength measured in kilograms. He paused, letting his gaze sweep across the assembled alien dignitaries. But war isn't fought in milliseconds. It's fought in heartbeats, in decisions made when you're exhausted and terrified and everything's gone wrong. It's fought with pattern recognition that only comes from seeing the same situation 100 times. It's fought with calm that you can only earn by surviving when calm was the only thing keeping you alive. Sergeant Major Williams joined him. You retire your warriors at 40 because their bodies slow down. We keep ours because their minds speed up. Every battle we survive makes us better at surviving the next one. Every mistake we witness teaches us not to make it. Every young soldier we've trained has taught us something new. But the physical degradation, Kelrath began, is compensated for, Moreno interrupted, by not making stupid mistakes, by not panicking, by understanding that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's being afraid and doing the job anyway. Our old soldiers aren't brave because they don't feel fear. They're brave because they've felt it so many times that they know how to work through it. Master Gunnery Sergeant Rodriguez spoke up, his voice carrying the rasp of too many years breathing combat atmosphere. You want to know the real secret? We never retired because nobody ever taught us how. War was our profession and we got very, very good at it. When Earth joined the Council, you asked for our best. These aren't museum pieces, Ambassador. We're master craftsmen and war is our craft. The chamber remained silent as the implications settled. The Vrexian Empire had fought the Zarnak swarm for 3 generations. The Krell Federation had lost 12 colonies. The Zenthian Collective had sacrificed millions, and a battalion of humans who'd collectively accumulated over 4,000 years of combat experience had stopped them in 16 hours. Ambassador Kelrath's translator hummed for a long moment before he spoke. The Council wishes to revise our request. How many more of these old soldiers can Earth provide? General Moreno smiled that same smile, the one that had worried Kelrath from the beginning. All of them. We've got veterans from conflicts you've never heard of, each one a library of tactical knowledge that would take your species centuries to accumulate. You wanted humanity's best warriors. She gestured to the old soldiers standing at attention behind her, men and women with gray hair, lined faces and eyes that had seen more war than any being in that chamber could imagine. These are humanity's best warriors, not despite their age, because of it. And they never retired because the job was never finished. Now, shall we discuss deployment schedules, or would you like to mock our museum pieces some more? The galaxy learned quickly. Human veterans became the most sought-after military advisors in Council space, but they never forgot the most important lesson. Old soldiers don't retire because they can't fight anymore. They retire when there's nothing left to fight for. And humanity had just been given an entire galaxy to protect. The job was far from finished.